Hey guys, happy Tuesday, right? Today's Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. Welcome to episode 315. That's a nice number. With my beautiful friend, the talented Mandy Aleman. So this is her first time on the TED show, so we're excited to have her. So let us know you can hear us or see us. Give us a thumbs up. Bill Moore is on. Bill, I saw your email. Thank you. Shirley Stamper, what's up? So just send us some hearts. Oh, Shirley said hi. So we must be good. Lori Rivera is on. So that's why, I like to give people sup. Yes. Had a good time yesterday. Hearts. Nick's on. Oh, love Nick. Loved your post today, Nick. That was awesome. So I'm really excited to have you on the show. Thank you for being flexible. We were going to meet this morning, and I'm like, why don't we do a show instead? Let's have some fun. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very, very excited that you're here because you're kind of a big deal, not just in your brokerage, but out in your neck of the woods, and we'll talk about that. But give them a little background on you, Mandy.
So I am from Key West.
Which you don't meet a lot of people from Key West,
Yeah.
right? Were you born in Key West?
I was not. I moved to Key West when I was 2 months old. I'm
Okay. That's
originally
pretty
from
close.
Kansas, so I'm a Floridian.
Yeah, you're a Floridian. 2 months, I'll give you.
Yeah. So I'm from Key West. I moved to Central Florida in 2008-ish.
What brought you up here?
I had just lived in Key West too long. I was ready to get out. I met my then boyfriend, now husband, in Key West. We moved up to North Florida. We lived over there for a little while. We had our beautiful kids together.
Yes. How many kids do you have?
I have two, a boy and a girl.
How old are they?
11-year-old boy.
You have an 11-year-old. Wow. that's
5-year-old
amazing.
girl, Mia
Awesome.
and Alex.
Awesome. Hi, Mia and Alex.
Hey.
So did your husband's job, this must be interesting because when I think of Key West, we were talking earlier, I think of, I'm dreamy, it's tropical, I'm having a great cocktail somewhere in or around Duval Street. I get to go to the southernmost point and take that crazy picture everyone takes. That seems relaxing to me.
It is, and now I think I took it for granted because now that I go back and visit, every so often, my whole family and friends live down there. So when I go visit, it's like, I never went to the beach. I never did all that.
Isn't that crazy? I was saying, I don't know how you avoid the beach in Key West.
Yeah.
Like it's everywhere. So then you moved then to St. Cloud.
No.
That's right, North Florida first.
I lived in North Florida for a couple years, and then my husband, his job was in Orlando, so he was having to drive back and forth. I was a nursing assistant at the time.
Oh, so I was going to ask you, obviously we joke about it, most people weren't born and then they say, Mom, I want to be a realtor when I grow up. Yeah, you're with the key and the realtor. So what did you do previously?
I was a nursing assistant in North Florida. Then I decided that after moving here with my husband's job, I decided I wanted to stay home with the kids. I wanted to have
Mommy time.
And, raise my kids at home. And so I did that. I stayed home for almost 6 years with them. And
what do you say to people who say that's an easy job?
oh my.
That used to make Stacy so mad. She's like, what? I'd like to have an adult conversation occasionally. It's a lot.
It was great. I'm very lucky that I got to do that. I'm very happy that, and then I waited until my daughter went to pre-K, and then that's when I was like, okay.
And why real estate? And hi, Jane. How you doing?
Hey. So real estate, I ended up buying my house, and Wendy Stewart was my realtor.
The famous Wendy Stewart was your I didn't know this. Wendy
did?
was no, that's why I don't do any research. Wendy, I didn't know Wendy was your realtor.
So we met at an open house. Yeah, she was my realtor. I bought a house at a new community. And I had always talked about doing real estate, since I was a stay-at-home mom, and I just loved it. I also knew that, I wanted to be able to help people get homes. Like it was the best time.
It was a great experience for you because your realtor was such an amazing realtor and person. And I think you're right. I think that you're helping people, but it's also great for your family because you're going from being a stay-at-home mom and then you're going back out into the workforce. You still want to have some flexibility.
That's exactly
and
right.
so real estate, anything in this arena, I feel like, is great for moms and dads because you can make your schedule to be at every school function if you need to, teacher conferences, games, practices. and you're actually still a part of their lives.
Yes, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to do my own thing at the, be at my kids' school, but also, be bringing home
some bacon.
Bringing home the bacon.
So what was it like though? So when you get out and it sounds good, you pass your exam, and then you get out, did you start working with Wendy right away?
I did.
Okay, so that's awesome. Property Pros, fantastic group with Mr. Billeteri. And so what was that like though? Was it everything you dreamed, or did you go, wow, this is a lot more work than I anticipated?
It's a lot of work, but
because you're your own boss. I mean, you're basically an entrepreneur.
You have to set your own schedule. You have to time block. You have to, put it out there. If you're gonna, make this appointment, you have to make sure, time blocking was super important for me. And being at home, usually, that's what I was doing, is always at home with the kids. So I made it, I set times where they're at school. I'm not at home anymore. I have to be out. I have to go do something and be at the office, be out talking to people. Did
you learn time blocking? Because I think that's a tool a lot of people could use. Time management is so important when you're an entrepreneur, when you are trying to figure out how to have that life, family, whatever balance, trying to do it all. Time blocking is really a critical tool. So did you learn that at any kind of function, or did you go to Tony Robbins, or somebody teach you? Property Pros. Mm-hmm. See, that's awesome. Did not know that.
They were very good with, letting you know that you're your own boss and this is what you have to do. You have to figure out time blocking, and you can't, if you have to meet the yard guy at 2 p.m., but you have an appointment, you better change that yard guy, because your time blocking for your job is, the most important. So.
Well, because it will get away from you, and then you will be running ragged, and it's very chaotic if you don't get in control of it. That's for any entrepreneur, I think. So how did you build, one of the things I really want to talk to you about, so being newer to real estate at the time, how did you build your database up? Because database is so important, and I think it's overlooked more often than it should be. I think your database really needs to be your starting point. But how did you build yours up just getting into real estate?
So for me, it was a little bit more tough because I wasn't from here. I didn't have my sphere of influence that everybody, went to high school with and grew up with, and your mommies and daddies and everybody lived here. I didn't have that. It was just us, me and my husband and my kids. We didn't know anybody. So for me, it was a little bit more tough. But my husband, and also being a stay-at-home mom, I didn't have a lot of friends out there.
Right.
So my husband was the one who started, helping me give out my cards everywhere he goes. He's always he talks about real estate probably just as much as I do.
That's a great partner.
He is. He's very good at that. But, and then so I did the same thing. I just went out, and everywhere I go, I'm always handing out my business cards. I'm always talking to people. That's how I got
So when you give out your cards, right? So I think that's a great first step. You have to be out. You have to be, a lot of realtors, I think that they don't network enough. And they also get complacent. All business owners do. You get complacent. You aren't continually building new blood. But so you get these people, you begin to grow a database. Did you get sales right away, or how did you build it? Did you create like an Excel spreadsheet? I mean, I'm talking about 101 when it comes to making sure that you keep in touch with your database.
I didn't have a spreadsheet type thing. Everybody I met, I saved their number in my phone as lead.
It works.
I love
that.
That was my way of doing things. So every time I would type in the word lead on my phone, I had a whole, I had them all, and I had like the times, the dates where I talked to them. And
so you put notes in. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about, I think that's so important. Because if you go somewhere, you get somebody's card, or you trade information, and then you don't have any point of reference as to where and why and how that meeting came into play. It's more powerful if you can reference that when you're going back to them and continuing to build the relationship.
That's right. So like in your Apple iPhone, they have the notes section. And so every time I put the date, I put, were they interested in really buying within the next, couple months or so, or was this just a random person I met at Wawa?
Which is great that you'll talk to anybody, but at least you're keeping in touch with them. Mm-hmm. I love that your husband was part of that. I think having someone that, Stacy helped me out a lot in the beginning when I had the insurance agencies. I finally had to fire her after so many years because she was working more hours than I was. That's a true confession. But it's so important to have somebody that's there that you can bounce things off, that can help you stay focused, especially when you have young children. Well, you had young children at the time. You still do.
Yeah.
Oh, look, asparagus. We were just talking about asparagus, by the way, Wendy and Tyler, if you're on. We've got a big show coming up on Thursday with Wendy Stewart and Tyler. That's going to be interesting. All right, but as you go, if your database grows, and then did you begin to ask, because the title of the show is the best compliment, and that obviously refers to that thing that you see a lot on business cards or social media. The best compliment is a referral. And so building your database based on referrals is so much more powerful.
Yes.
How did you ask for referrals, or how do you ask for referrals?
Well, if the person who I'm speaking with, like I said, I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to talk to everybody. If the person I'm speaking with, I will say, if you're not interested, do you please let your family and friends know, here, if you don't want my card, pass it on to your family and friends, because, your referral would be greatly appreciated. And like I said, I'm just talking to everybody.
Well, I think that what happens too is we love you, Wendy. If you are out there and you're doing that, I think people give up so quickly. So let's say somebody says, in this instance, we're talking about real estate, obviously. Somebody says, I don't have a need right now. When you ask the additional question, even if you plant that seed in their mind and they have the card, trust me, their brother, their coworker, their somebody at church, somebody's going to need it. And because you asked just that one extra question, they're going to remember you. And they're going to try to find that card. I'm telling you, it's very powerful. But if you don't ask, you don't get. So what do you do now to keep, because database obviously is a big topic. What do you do now to keep in touch with people? Do you do the average 7 to 10 touches a year? Is it via email? Do you drop off gifts? How do you keep in touch with your database?
We do like events here and there. We'll do events. We do
like customer appreciation events?
But we don't call it that.
Oh, what do we? I love it. I'm corrected. What do we call it?
We just call it an event, just a event for everybody. Because if we don't want to call it a customer appreciation event, then that limits it to, just our customers.
I love that.
So, for other people. But we'll do, however I've spoke with them before, if the person is a big texter, I make sure that I send them text. I'll make sure that I keep in touch with them through their preferred. Some older people that I've worked with, they don't do email, so I don't, I'll call them, I reach out to them through.
That is such an important point. I think that if you have one means of communication and that's the only way you communicate with your database, you're missing a big chunk of people that you could be reaching. You have to find out what is best for them. I don't like phone calls. So I'm a texter and a messenger kind of person. Shoot, you can message me on Instagram if you want, or an in-person type person. But if you want to talk to me on the phone, that's not my favorite way to communicate. So if that's the only way, as I got a robocall or a phone call from you all the time, I would discount it. But first of all, I would probably never pick it up. Second of all, I might not even listen to the message because that's not how I like to be communicated with.
But if
so you
I
have to
sent
listen.
you a text.
If you sent me a text, I'll respond right away unless we're doing a show. And I'll get back to you because that's my preferred way of doing it. So you have to listen to your database. You have to pay attention to the way, and you have to ask. Don't assume that they all want to receive we were talking about this earlier, your email newsletter every month. Have you asked them? Did you even ask them if that's if they want that? Or if there's a better way for you to communicate with them. Do you use any direct mail?
I try to, I have here and there, but not much. I feel that that's not as helpful.
It's not good for you in your, what do you do for holidays? I really am trying to pick your brain.
Okay.
So for holidays and things like that.
We do direct mail that way. I'll send Christmas cards.
Awesome.
Handwritten little notes.
All right, handwritten, again, a big thing that I talk about a lot. The handwritten note. You can't beat it. If you're sending just a blanket, pre-done card, and you're not doing handwritten notes, which I know it hurts. Trust me. I also know a lot of you don't know how to handwrite. That's the funniest thing.
And then on the outside of the envelope also, you do your own personal
That's correct.
writing on
Because
there.
people do notice that small of a detail. They can tell if Mandy took the time to handwrite everything. It's so much better. It looks better and feels better for the receiver if you do that, other than something that's pre-printed. And I'm not against any of the pre-printed card services. It's just you really do, I think, especially in our industry, having that personal touch on everything is so important. Mm-hmm. So how many years have you been doing it? Because I want to hear what your database has grown to, and then I want you to talk a little bit about how that becomes a challenge as it grows more each year.
I've been doing real estate for a year and a half.
See, but she's so successful, right, Wendy? You write in pink, Wendy says.
Yes, we do.
You write in pink. Did you see her name tag? Did you have it? So they're name tag too. They've got a pink border, which is really cool. It sets you apart. I noticed it right away. I noticed it right away.
What did you ask?
I asked you about the database. So as it grows, as you're getting more and more, it becomes a little bit more of a challenge each year as you're growing to continue to keep in touch with them in a way that's impactful. And so how do you manage that growth?
Well,
or do you just go forth and do good in your year and a half, Wendy?
I mean,
people want secrets, Mandy. They want to know how you do it. You don't have to give all your secrets, but I think it's good to know because you're an incredibly you're very squirrel. Wendy says you're very successful in a year and a half. Super successful. There is something that you're doing right that you can kind of give them an insight, especially when it comes to referrals.
I am always thinking, like I write. Most people use, their calendar, which I don't. I use Google Calendar every day, but I write everything handwritten. I have to see it in 2 places. So I'm always just going back on the computer, looking at their information on my handwritten note on Google Calendar, like when's the last time I spoke with this person, and I keep in touch with people that if I haven't talked to you, for a week, and you were kind of, thinking about something, I'll get in contact with you.
That's so important. So and a lot of people give up. So this is any business. If there's this unsaid 3 times, that's right, she leaves her cards everywhere, even at the gas station. That's important. But I think people give up. Like if you haven't heard from someone that's you reached out to, there's nothing wrong with you continuing. We had a rule in my office. Continue to reach out to them until they point blank tell you, leave me alone. Because I promise you're going to hit them at the right time one of those times. And a lot of it has to do with timing. On the loan side, there are realtors who don't use me for their lending. I don't know why. But so let's say they don't. And then because I continue to keep in touch with them, regardless of whether they've sent something or not, relentless, I like that word. I hit them at the right time. They didn't have a great experience with a lender, or there's a change in their office. And because I have been consistently communicating with them, I hit them at the right time. Now, you have to be ready to deliver when you hit them, because they're already not in a good place, right? Mm-hmm. And they're already changing. So maybe they were using a realtor before, and now Mandy got them. Now, Mandy has to be spot on this deal, because if she's great, guess what's going to happen? She's going to get the referrals. They're going to talk so much good about her that she's going to hit their centers of influence too.
That is exactly.
Promotion. That's right, John. Yeah. You have to constantly be on. And if you're not an on person, I would imagine it would be a challenge. My son says that the job that I have is his worst nightmare. Because he's not on all the time. He likes to be able to talk to his friends and then go back to what he wants to do. Not everybody is made for this, I think, any kind of sales or entrepreneurship for that matter. Because there's ups and downs, right?
And you can't quit. You can't, I've been, other realtor has stolen somebody right from under me or something, and it hurts your heart.
It does hurt your heart. I know.
You gotta just keep it going.
You got to keep going. You have to have that persistence, relentless. I love that. She's unstoppable. Because that stuff's going to happen. It's also the market's going to go different ways. There's times where it's slower than normal. and you just have to keep plodding through. This is in any business, any kind of business that you own. If you have an entrepreneurial spirit and you're your own business owner, you have those ups and downs where you are like, what am I doing? Wouldn't it be nice if I had a 9-to-5 job and I could just get a regular paycheck? We all think it and we've all felt it. So if you're feeling that out there, I don't want you to feel like you're the only person going through that. So what's the plan for 2019? What are you going to do different? Or what are your plans for marketing? I'm trying to tap into her brain today. Are you doing anything different than you would in 2018?
Well, we're gonna do, me and my team, we're working on events like that. We're gonna focus a lot this year on doing events because we think that's a good way to get a whole bunch of people together. And, you know, doesn't, like I said, it's not a customer appreciation event.
It's just an event.
It's an event that, you know, all the neighborhood, everybody can come, and that's gonna be our big thing. A way to get.
Oh, John says he loves your smile. She's got a great smile.
Thank you.
I think the events are a great idea because if you have, like I have individual meetings and sometimes that can be very labor intensive, even though I love all of you. Sometimes bringing a whole group of people together, it not only sparks, it keeps you in touch and top of mind, which we talked about before, but also if you have other people, they start talking about how great Mandy is, or Ted is, or Wendy is, or John is. They start having that conversation, and all it does is reinforce and solidify the relationship and the feelings that they have for you as a positive person. Or if they haven't utilized you yet, because we're not calling them customer appreciation, then they hear all the positives from the people who are there, and then they're like, well, I want to use Mandy next time. I want to use Ted next time.
And it doesn't have to be real estate related, like, you know, our events, just them talking about, oh yeah, we went to an event with these people, and
and that's what they're going to say. So if the event's on a Friday night and Saturday they're out having a barbecue with their family, you know, they're going to talk about where they were Friday night.
There you go.
And if they talk about how awesome the event was with Mandy and her team, trust me, those other people are going to want to know. And there aren't a lot of people out there doing that. And so it sets you apart. It makes you guys different, which is what you want to be in a positive way. So where do you see yourself on growth? Do you set goals at the beginning of each year?
Yes.
Mike Lewin, the Stewart team, awesome. Do you set goals at the beginning of the year?
Yes.
Okay, so you are a goal setter.
Yes.
Now, do you sit down with the team? Do you sit down with your husband? Is it like a whole big...
Well, we do team goals, but we each have our own separate goal. Like, we have a goal as a whole, and then we each have our own separate goals. And
now, do you set a stretch goal? A lot of people set this goal that seems unattainable, but you're trying to stretch to see how close you can get to it.
I'm just going to double my...
Double! All right, so double. That's amazing. So that's why I said the way that you're doing it, though, I think is so important because the consistency is where it will allow you to grow exponentially. So if you're going to double this year, imagine you've got twice as many people when you start 2020 than you did in 2019. And so that's where you begin to really see the growth, and you begin to see, like, it's crazy.
Your database definitely comes in handy. Where you store all that information and how you
reach them is so important. Don't give up, and make sure that you're not just doing the once a month or once a quarter newsletter in the email. What happened? I mean, what happens when that goes? It's just... I love the people that do that, but if that's your only means of communicating, then you are missing the boat. So I love getting the 95. I was joking, 95 emails on that one particular day when the newsletters come in. But I want to see you doing other things. So please go out and do other stuff. Do posts. Go to classes. Go to networking. And do events.
Do the TED show.
Do the TED show and use it to promote. All right, so we're going to share all of Mandy's contact information, how you can reach out to her, how you can tap into her brain, because she's got a lot of great ideas. And if I know anything about her and the Stewart team, they're very, very generous and gracious with sharing what they do, because there's plenty of business out there, and each person responds to the other person in a different way. And so there's plenty of room for us to share what we're doing. All right, so any parting words of wisdom for them, anything you want to share with them before we head out?
Make sure you come check out this beautiful space that we're in here, the city beautiful of Orlando.
That's right. You came to the big city today.
These views here are amazing, and yeah, you're missing out if you haven't seen it.
That's right. So you want to come on the show, and you want to reach out to Mandy. She's amazing. All right, thanks for being on. See, it was painless, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
It's good.
See, you did fantastic. I got more out of you than you wanted to give, though. I love that. That was good. So thank you, guys. We love you. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. See you soon. Thank you so much for coming on. Wendy, thanks for the intro. Nick says, loves y'all. We love you too, Nick. We love you guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.